Most relationships don't end because of one big betrayal. They die from tiny little habits that happen over time that build up. And these silent relationship killers are what is going to take you from a healthy, secure, and happy relationship to it ending before you could blink a fucking eye, or probably staying a little too long. So we're going to go over what are these relationship killers, how can you address them, and then what you can do to make sure that you avoid these from happening. So stick around, and if you guys want more, I've got a podcast called The Sabrina Zohar Show right here on YouTube that you guys can check out for more. Okay. So the first one that I want to kind of look at is emotional micro neglect. And I know for a lot of us, we're so used to the biggies, right? Of like, oh, this person completely ignores me or they're not doing anything. But a lot of the times, like a lot of these relationship killers that we see that are very subtle are often tied to the nervous system patterns. And they're typically going to cause some unspoken resentment and some unmet needs. Because if you have somebody that is emotionally micro-neglecting you, those are like tiny little paper cuts. They're small daily little moments of not being emotionally attuned to your partner. So maybe they're distracted when they're listening. They fucking pick up their phone when you're talking. They dismiss your feelings. They don't ask you follow-up questions. Of course, you're not going to feel connected to your partner. And the reason that this matters is because attachment bonds weaken when emotional bids go unnoticed. That's from the Gottman Institute. And what is an emotional bid? I remember even when Ryan and I were dating, it was like early on in our dating experience, and we went to an arcade, and I said, I really want to take a photo. And I was like, and I got this bracelet, like, can we wear it in it? And he was like, no. And I remember just being like, it was just a fucking bracelet. And it was like, oh, my therapist brought to my attention was that was a bid for connection. I was trying to give him something small of like, look, could we wear these together? And when he shut it down, I felt dismissed. It didn't mean that there was like anything wrong with him. It didn't mean he did anything wrong. It was just, oh, okay, that's what that was for me to understand it. And over time, when your partner stops reaching out, then there's going to be an emotional distance. So if your partner starts to see, well, when I come to this person, they don't fucking listen, they're not paying attention, especially your phone. There is nothing that's going to kill something quicker than in the middle of you talking, you pick up your fucking phone or you break eye contact to do something on your computer. Put your fucking stuff down, look your partner in your eyes, and talk to them. Be present in the moment with what your partner is coming to you with, because you might think it's small, but don't worry. Somebody else is paying attention to them. It could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be something. But when somebody's needs go unmet, somebody's going to probably seek that elsewhere. It doesn't mean they're cheating on you. That's not what I'm saying. But it could be that they have an emotional connection with somebody else that maybe you don't have. And it's like, well, we can't be totally shocked when you've been emotionally micro-neglecting them this whole time. And if that's okay, if you're like, oh shit, I think I do that, that's okay. I've been known to, like, I've even have to be more conscious of being on my phone or just being distracted when my partner's to listening and talking to me and I'm not listening. Like, those are things, because then I understand that they don't feel seen, heard, and understood, and that's really valid. And the second thing, we got to stop this shit, is that chronic scorekeeping. Right? Keeping mutual tabs on who does what, whether that be like, well, I did the garbage last week, why aren't you doing it? It's like, whoa, man, we're building we're building a partnership here, right? This isn't about who did the favors, who did the mistakes, like you do this every time, or this is the 15th time you've done that. Because what it does is it shifts the relationship from being a partnership into a transaction. And then you feel even more disconnected because you're like, wow, you're just keeping score on everything I do. And honestly, that's usually rooted in resentment or feeling unseen. Right? That's why it's like if somebody's like, I've done this 25 times and you haven't done it once, it's like, okay, so you're keeping score. Okay, so you don't feel like I validate you. You don't feel like I'm taking care of you. That's okay. Again, this doesn't mean that any is right or wrong for doing it, but it's about getting curious about what your partner's experience is and what's happening. Okay, the next one that I think is huge, especially if you have more of that anxious attachment style, and that is assumption over communication. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. I love that saying for a reason. Because when you believe like you already know what your partner thinks, wants, or feels, how do you know? How do you know every single time? It'd be one thing if you joke and you're like, oh, when they get that dish, I know they're going to hate it because they hate onions. Okay, cool, great, right? That's just you. And maybe they don't, because humans are humans. Humans are allowed to change. We're allowed to evolve. We're allowed to become different versions of ourselves as well. And so oftentimes when you're assuming, right, like I knew you were going to be mad at that. Like I know that I don't even need to bring that up to you because you're going to be pissed at me. Well, what you're doing is you're projecting. You're mind reading, and you're missing real shifts in their needs because you're projecting your shit onto them. You don't automatically know what this person's thinking and feeling. And then we have something called confirmation bias, and that keeps you stuck in those old narratives about them because your brain is going, see, I knew it, confirmation. That's why when some of you guys will come and be like, yeah, but I was always right. It's like, yeah, that's confirmation bias because you're dealing with somebody that from the get was the archetype of the person that you probably should be avoiding. So no shit, it ended up working out, self-fulfilling prophecy. And so we have to really look and say, whoa, okay, am I trying to meet their mind? Am I giving them the space to open up, or am I just jumping down their throat when they do? Which I've seen that. Or like I've seen where heterosexual relationships where men will be vulnerable and open, and I'll see a woman will be like, God, you look like a little bitch. Or like, I don't need to deal with this, like man up. And it's like, and you wonder why that person's not going to fucking be open and honest. It's because like already when you're judging them, you're projecting, you're putting your own shit onto them. And it's like, well, do you want a partner that's going to be vulnerable and open with you or not? And how are they being received? Okay. One that's really big is disguised contempt. And I know the Gottmans talk about that, but micro expressions, right? When you rolling your eyes, tons of sarcasm. Like, listen, you could be sarcastic. I'm a sarcastic asshole. But after a while, you're like, are we going to be real or are we not? Jokes with a sting of like, oh, wow, you're not annoying for once. And it's like, ouch, fuck you. And so the Gottmans have seen that contempt is the number one predictor of divorce. And that starts pretty subtly usually. That's why I'm saying there's these little like daily habits that erode the safety. They don't really create respect and safety. You start to feel like I said, if somebody rolled their eyes at me or you're like, yeah, what the fuck is your problem? Like, if you're frustrated, just talk to me, but like use your words. Don't do like a facial expression at somebody. It's like, don't be passive aggressive. And if you're like, oh, well, that's my personality, it's like, get a new one. Okay, another one that's I think really, really big is neglecting repair after a conflict. This is probably like one of the biggest things. It's not that conflict is a problem. I mean, to a certain extent, right? If you guys are fighting every 5 seconds, well, then you don't have repair. It's the lack of repair that becomes an issue. And avoiding the hard conversations usually leads to unresolved tension, which then slows down the connection, which is why I will continue to say, use your voice. We want to hear what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're going through, but there's a way to say it. Hey, can I share something with you? You know, because when your partner stays in like that fight or flight, you're going to also feel dysregulated because you're like, well, it's not that everything's fine, but I'm waiting for any point the other shoe to drop. And so when we have conflict, that's okay. That's okay. It's not that that's bad. I want to look at, do they take accountability and ownership? Do they create a space where you can articulate how you're feeling? Do they take a pause and say, okay, let's talk about it? Do you guys actually make progress, or are you fighting about the same thing over and over and over again because it's just repeats of the same shit? It's not half the time. It's not. If you keep fighting about the garbage, it's probably not about the garbage. And if you do always and never, it's like, well, then you're not actually fighting fair. And that could be a big disconnect because you can have conflict and ruptures, but if you're not repairing it, you're stuck in a cycle. And then that's when it can be really, really tough. And okay, so what do I want you to do? How can you spot this early? So I want you guys to start getting into regular relationship check-ins. I understand that people are like, that's not sexy, but it's like, no, stop hiding resentment. So if you have something like, hey, can I share something with you? That really pissed me off when you did that last week or yesterday. Like or this afternoon. Like I haven't really moved on from it and I'd love to talk to you about it. It's okay. Have a check-in. How are you feeling? What's coming up for you? Watch your partner's emotional bids. Are they decreasing over time? Are you starting to see them pull away? Talk about it. Hey, I'm feeling a disconnect. Do you want to talk about it? And then also check your own behavior, your tone, your attention, your assumptions, right? Like sometimes I have to do checks on myself of like, whoa, dude, you're being an asshole. This person didn't do anything. Like you're just in a bad mood right now. So like, don't take it out on them. They don't need, because it can erode over time. They're like, oh, do I do nothing right? And you're like, oh, fuck, this was never even about you. And so we have to kind of interrupt that autopilot. That's the thing, is like this intentional presence every single day is how you're going to get closer with somebody and not further away. And that's also why I'm saying like, be present in your body. I want you to replace the assumptions with clarity. I want to get clear with you. I want to understand what's coming up with you. I want to get clear. Learn to use each other's repair languages. If your partner needs 5 minutes, give them 5 minutes and then come back. Hey, now it's my repair. Now I'd like to talk about it. Are you in a headspace to do so? I want you guys to not be scared of this stuff, but I want you to really pay attention when you start to notice them, because it's never too late until it's too late, right? It's sometimes too much has happened, and sometimes we have to acknowledge and say, okay, I don't know if we're going to sustain this, and that's okay, or survive it, and that's totally okay. And then other times you're like, man, we could totally work through this. I need to use my voice and share with you. I wouldn't have the relationship I have right now with my partner if I held things from him, if I wasn't honest about, here's what I need, could you please do this? And if not, that's okay, can we talk about it? And vice versa. That's how we avoid the resentment, because we even say that, to avoid resentment, can I share? I'm not saying you have to do what we do, but I'm just giving an example of what a healthy and secure relationship looks like, that we don't have these silent relationship killers, because if we would have been broken up by now if I didn't use my voice and stand up. So guys, like I said, if you need anything, subscribe, follow along on the channel, come watch the podcast, The Sabrina Zohar Show, right here on YouTube. And if you guys want more, I've got the course, the foundation course. It is packed full. It's an 8-week self-guided course. You get free group coaching every month with Sheila, who's my embodiment coach, who does IFS. And we help to integrate all the material you're working so that you can get out there and feel really fucking strong about the relationship that you're in. So guys, as always, thank you for sitting with me. And I can't wait to see you guys next week.